little company called ADP has acquired Michigan-based Workforce Software. The acquisition integrates workforce software solution and time tracking, scheduling, and other services into ADP's existing services. Chad, your take on this acquisition?
Yeah, I mean, when companies say they have a build, partner, or buy strategy, most only have a partner strategy or maybe a buy every now and again strategy, but ADP can drop the coin necessary on any given fucking day and buy whatever they want. So in this case, yes, Workforce has a portfolio of companies. ADP is buying that portfolio. That's awesome.
Hide your kids. Lock the doors. You're listening to HR's most dangerous podcast. Chad Sowash and Joel Cheeseman are here to punch the recruiting industry right where it hurts. Complete with breaking news, brash opinion, and loads of snark. Buckle up, boys and girls. It's time for the Chad and Cheese Podcast.
Oh, yeah. Two guys who love the nightlife and love to boogie. Hi, kids. You are listening to the Chad and Cheese Podcast. I'm your co-host, Joel, the real father of IVF Cheeseman.
Oh, this is Chad. I can't take this fucking political cycle anymore, so wash.
And on this episode, layoffs, acquisitions, and bad bosses. Oh my, let's do this.
At Shaker Recruitment Marketing, our comprehensive services include branding, talent attraction, MarTech, and analytics, empowering you to achieve your recruitment marketing goals. We believe in doing things the right way, delivering the right message through the right activation, achieving the right conversion. For us, business is deeply personal. Our legacy is built on relationships. Together with our people, clients, and partners, we've been shaping the world of talent for over 70 years.
Oh my God. Thanks for that.
19 more days as of this recording. 19 more
God,
days.
Jesus,
as if it'll end in 19 days.
Well, yeah, I think we've got a greater likelihood of it ending if Kamala wins, because we don't have to worry about really a change of power, to be quite frank.
She better landslide that shit if she does. She better leave no doubt that she won the election.
Yeah. Well,
otherwise,
welcome to democracy. Welcome to democracy and propaganda.
I'm sick of the texts. Oh my God. Like, I get 10 to 12 texts a day asking for money or buying stuff. I mean, if my texts are any indication, Ted Cruz is in trouble. I get more Ted Cruz stuff randomly. So that can't be good. You
get Ted Cruz texts? So Jesus Christ, I'm glad I'm not on the list that you're on.
Well, I'm on some GOP list somewhere. So I get all kinds of shit. I'll get state stuff here locally. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Yeah, like most of it's Trump. By the way, isn't it weird, the whole sales shit? He's selling coins. He's selling like NFTs.
Dude, he's a fucking he's a con man.
It's just so weird that we live. It's so weird that we live in a time where a presidential candidate is selling shit. Mm-hmm. It's just weird. It's not like the history books have there's no stories about Lincoln, roaming the Midwest selling top hats or something. Like it's just such a weird fucking world we live in, man. Like,
I
don't get it. And then sports. God, let's get to sports real quick. The Buckeyes lose in a sham of a rule, by the way, takes time off the clock. If you know, you know. The Browns trade a wide receiver one for a third round pick.
Yep.
The Guardians are down 0-2 to the Yankees. It's a bummer time for sports.
Yeah. Well, see, I don't mind the Buckeyes losing by a point, and here's why. First and foremost, they're gonna get into the playoff. Okay. Now they have a chip on their shoulder where before everybody was touting how they were the best this, the best that, and so on and so forth. They needed a chip on their shoulder. They're going to have that. They're not going to go in as number one, which I am fine with. Yeah. So I think this is good for Billboard. I think for the billboard on the wall when you're going in every week, you're not number one. So for me, I think it's okay. I wasn't happy that they lost, but I think it's going to work in their favor.
At least they didn't lose to Vanderbilt, Alabama. That's the worst. I think that loss is worse than Appalachian State beating Michigan back in the day. That is a horrible loss.
I think it is too. Okay.
And
Let's
by
get
the way, Ball State plays Vanderbilt this week. So if they beat Vanderbilt, I can officially say Ball State is better than Alabama, just for the record.
Yeah, by proxy. Yeah.
By proxy.
Hey, listener. Hey, I'm seeing here that you're watching every single week. Yeah, I know YouTube, Google, they have these analytics things, and you haven't subscribed yet. I don't know what the problem is. Hopefully, it's probably Joel. I know it's probably Joel, but it's okay. It's okay. He's not here right now. Just go ahead and click subscribe. Click subscribe.
Oh shit! Let's get to something that we know. By the way, our shout outs are sponsored by our good friends and Canadians.
Keeyora.
That's right, Keeyora. Text recruiting made simple. What you got, Chad?
And this shout out made simple. It's interesting this week. Shout out to Smart Recruiters for launching Winston. We spent all last week in Scottsdale talking to companies. Specifically about how they're using technology to automate, to save money, to save time. To do the things that we should have been doing for years. And we got some amazing stuff, which is going to come out, kids. Get ready for the AI sessions, season 2 and season 3. But then this week, we see Smart Recruiters launching Winston. And this is going in the same direction, which I think is incredibly smart because all of these old legacy applicant tracking systems who have the forms that nobody's going to fucking fill out. They have conversational engagement, which to me feels like conversational AI is going to be happening here, using scheduling, multi-layered screening, adaptive UI. What does that mean? I guess we're going to find out. And then agentic insights, which I believe means the AI will dynamically build reports. Anyway, newly minted CEO, Rebecca Carr, is putting her stamp on Smart Recruiters pretty damn fast. And since we're pretty close with them and the rest of the team, I am pretty excited to take a look and get a deep dive into some of this tech. And if anybody has not seen our latest interview with Rebecca Carr, just go to chadcheese.com or go to YouTube, Chad Cheese on YouTube. Shout out to automation.
And good on Smart Recruiters for giving their AI a boy's name. Everyone's a woman. Everyone's sort of feminine. Like, good for them. Winston's a good, strong name. Good for them. Good for them. All right. My shout out goes to Natasha Badger. Who the fuck is Natasha Badger? Well, let me tell you, she's gone viral on TikTok. For giving some job search advice on how to leverage LinkedIn in a smart way. She's up to about 2 million views. Knowing that a lot of people are in our industry, I know that you've gotten contacted by some folks, as I have as well, are looking for a job. And some of the kids are watching the show and on YouTube. I thought it'd be worthwhile to show her TikTok that is blowing up. If you haven't seen it already, check it out.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. This is the best way to use LinkedIn to find a job. This is what I did for my last job search. Got all of my interviews with it and how I got the job that I'm in today. You're going to search, I'm hiring, fill in whatever type of role you're looking for. For me, I was looking for marketing. You could even say marketing associate. That's exactly what I was looking for. Turn on only the posts that you want to look at because this is what we're looking for, and only within the past week, or you could even do 24 hours. We don't want a job that was posted like 3 months ago. All of the posts that you're going to see here in these results are going to be hiring managers, most likely hiring managers or people on the teams that are actively hiring for a role. Now, there's going to be a lot of posts, so you're going to have to scroll through some BS to sort of get to the good stuff. But believe me, it is so worth it. Imagine if someone is looking for a role desperately and they're really trying to fill it, they're going to post on LinkedIn saying, I'm hiring for this associate, asking for their network to help them out. So scroll through those posts, anything that looks relevant to you, message the person that posted it and say, hey, I found this post on LinkedIn. And say, hey, I found your post on LinkedIn. I'm really interested in the role that you're hiring for. Would you mind setting up like 10 to 15 minutes coffee chat so I could ask some questions? I did this, and either I met with them for the chat and they put me straight into the interview process through the recruiter, or they immediately just put me into the interview process without even having a coffee chat. It pays off to do that small research. It makes it look like you found this company on your own. Look out there and let me know if this works for you.
Boom.
Genius.
Boom.
And if you haven't seen it, our recent interview with Allison King, entitled An Employment Pro's Job Search Journey, is something you should watch if you're looking for a job. Some really creative ideas around LinkedIn to find a job. Shout out to Natasha Badger. What a great last name. Badger. Natasha Badger. Love it. Love it. Almost as good as getting free shit from us.
Well, that was free advice. Now we've got free shit that you can go to chadcheese.com/free and register. What are you registering for, kids? Oh, you know, t-shirts, those sexy little t-shirts with the new Guns N' Roses Chad and Cheese logo on the front and the Aaron app logo on the back. Beer from Aspen Tech Labs. That's craft beer. It's going to land on your doorstep. Whiskey. 2 bottles of whiskey, kids, from Tex Colonel /Bullhorn. Bourbon barrel aged syrup from our friends at Keeyora. And last but not least, birthday. Your birthday. You might get rum from Plum. Go to chadcheese.com/free. Register. Can't win unless you play.
I can feel it all the way down in my plums.
That's right, Chad. Some listeners are celebrating a birthday this week. I'm going to go through the whole month because we're traveling, which I know we'll get to in a second. But celebrating another trip around the sun. We got Gary Gray, Cheryl Calloway, Brandon Pointer, Melissa Allen, Rob Janone, Dennis Tupper, Sean Horton, Tom Kinney, Ryan Beck, Punkage Jindal, Cameo Owens, Jonathan Stelling, Jeremy Roberts, Heather Cochran, Desiree Goldie, Tracy Jackson, Bob Werborough, Tom Daniels, John Sullivan. And look out, Chad. It's a double Scotsman treat.
Ooh. What?
That's right. Stephen O'Donnell and Scotsman #1, Stephen McGrath, are celebrating another trip around the sun. So happy birthday, everybody. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. So we talk about a little bit about fantasy football. I really don't want to, because on Monday night, right before I was slated to win, and right before they started, my guy sat on the bench because he had an injury. And that was last minute. I didn't get a chance to sub in, and I literally lost by like maybe 5 points or some shit like that. That hurt.
That's fantasy, baby. I had my tight end on the first play. Got hurt. Goddard at the Eagles. But yeah, that's how it goes. Well, let's get into it. That's our cue for the fantasy football leaderboard. Fantasy football, as you know, Chad, sponsored by our buddies at FactoryFix. Check those out if you guys are looking for hourly employees. Here's your leaderboard after week 6 of NFL football. David Stiefel is still in the #1 spot. Dean Daddy Mac Mackerel took me to the woodshed and gave me a boomerang to the head this week.
Put the spanking.
Yeah, he did. #3, Jennifer Terry Bradshaw Tharp. #4, I'm still there. Joel Slippery Slope Cheeseman. #5, Action Jackson Dahlquist. #6, Laura Magic Martinelli. #7, Dina Pero for Pyro. She was last year's champion, as you know. #8, with a bomb, Adam Gordon Ramsay, quickly finding the seller of the league. #9, Keith the Commish Sonderling.
Damn.
#10, Bad Chad Sowash. Ugh. #11, Christy Linebacker Lisbon. And #12, in the cellar again, Sean Horton. Here's a who. That is your leaderboard for fantasy football, sponsored by FactoryFix.
Excellent. We've got one more week of travel. That's next week. We're going to be in New Orleans for HR Gumbo. It's going to be a blast, kids. It's going to be a blast. Key Sonderling's going to be on stage with us. I know Guru's going to be there from Fair AI. Fair Now HI, my bad. AI. Julie's going to be on stage talking about black box AI and how it might impact individuals with disabilities. We're going to be rooftop parties at Rosie's, another more formal gathering at the World War II Museum, which should be a blast for you history buffs out there. And it's going to be great. I'm going to get a chance to pull a lot of speakers on the mic and just have a good time down in NOLA.
The Big Easy, baby. Well, before we get to topics, that's right. We got some layoffs to talk about. Well, quick update. We talked about Career Builder plus Monster. That's their official name now. Real creative. Career Builder plus Monster. AIM Group is reporting that the layoffs hit about 200 employees, roughly 15% of the workforce. So that was sort of highlighted. And TopTal, a company that Chad says no one knows. So anyway, this might be news for you. Just the name of the company, the self-proclaimed world's largest fully remote workforce, has laid off a whopping 70% of its engineering team, affecting roles across software engineering, data science, and design in multiple countries like the U.S., Ukraine, and Poland. Chad, any thoughts on updates on layoffs?
Yeah, just a continuation of last week with Monster. That's not anything we should be surprised with. But I do have some insider knowledge that we were talking about whether they would have two databases, two types of tech, et cetera, et cetera. Nope. From my understanding, again, this is a rumor from the inside, they're going to go to one platform, one tech platform. And then they'll more than likely merge the candidate databases into that one search platform. So try to make it a big, bad Career Builder plus Monster. On the TopTal side of the house, it was funny because just literally last week, one of my friends was asking me about them because they were pretty much being dragged into conversations about prospectively being on the leadership team. And I was like, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. They're so far behind the rest of the competition that's out there. It's just not worth it. It literally isn't worth it. And then this information comes out. I'm like, holy shit, talk about dodging a bullet. But a lot of this doesn't surprise me. We're going to see a lot of the smaller players who haven't evolved fast enough. They don't understand how to partner and build. They're going to get flushed down the toilet. And that's where it feels like TopTal's going.
Yeah. Did you tell your buddy not to fall for the banana in the tailpipe?
You're not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe.
Yes.
The question I have is 70% of your engineering, is that an AI thing? Because that's crazy. Thriving businesses don't cut 70% of their engineering team. That's not a good sign for anybody.
Tell that to Elon Musk.
Tell that to all right, time out. Did you see the whole taxi thing and the people robot and the bus?
Yeah.
That was awful. Like, the robots were mostly apparently by
remote control.
Humans were they were hardly remote. Anyway, the stock took a big hit. But anyway, okay, yeah. If you haven't checked that out, it's pretty bad. But let's get into some of our industry news here.
Topics.
All right. A little company called ADP has acquired Michigan-based Workforce Software. The acquisition integrates workforce software solution and time tracking, scheduling, and other services into ADP's existing services. Chad, your take on this acquisition?
Yeah, I mean, when companies say they have a build, partner, or buy strategy, most only have a partner strategy or maybe a buy every now and again strategy, but ADP can drop the coin necessary on any given fucking day and buy whatever they want. So in this case, yes, Workforce has a portfolio of companies. ADP is buying that portfolio. That's awesome. But more importantly, ADP added complementary capabilities to their suite of solutions, which they can now offer to their 1 million+ customers in over 140 countries because Workforce is also global. Workforce Software has been in business since 1999. This is not a startup, kids. This is a full-fledged, been in business for a long damn time. So the question is, why sell? Well, VC and PE were deep into Workforce Software, and since Evergreen dumped some additional cash in the kitty in 2019, the clock was ticking and apparently time was up. At the end of the day, what's happening here is we're starting to see ADP, and this is going to be hard, man. It's not going to be easy no matter how much money they have, trying to pull everything together with their Lyric automations, right? AI automations. It's going to be incredibly hard. Although if there's any company who can do it in the space, it's them, because they got the cash, they got the people, and they got the know-how. So it's going to be interesting to watch this.
60% of the time, it works every time.
So Bloomberg reported that this deal went down for about $1.2 billion. Not too shabby for that, for Workforce Software. I'm sure their shareholders are pretty happy about that. They employ around 700 people. They're a pretty steady company. Headcount, like no dips, no valleys, no peaks. I mean, they're just sort of steady Eddie, like I guess a good Midwestern Michigan company should be. You mentioned ADP's 1 million clients in 140 companies. Like ADP is a huge business. And when they buy someone, I mean, there's a lot of accountants, a lot of due diligence, a lot of people look under the hood to make sure that it makes sense. So like, I think that's your comment about if anyone can make it work, ADP is certainly up there. Historically, acquisitions don't work out very well. So we'll see what happens there. I think this was a big move for ADP to stay like long-term relevant. I don't want to necessarily say blame deal for this deal. Sorry, I had to do that. But I do think that ADP has made a living off payroll, and they've included services. I don't know how good those services are. I don't really hear a lot of people like banging the drum for how great ADP's other stuff is. Their marketplace is pretty thriving, so they get sort of a good look at what other people are using, what they want. Yeah. But as more platforms, like there are certain platforms that aren't building in your marketplace. Deal is not building in your marketplace. Remote, Oyster, all those companies, they want to be your competitor. And as they add payroll to their services, ADP has really no other choice in my mind than to start competing on the other software services that those companies are providing. So if you want to be the one platform to rule them all, you're going to have some of the services that Workforce Software provide. And they seem like the winner that gets the golden ticket to get acquired by ADP. But I think this is spurred primarily by, oh shit, we have competition and we need to do things to make sure that we're not irrelevant in 10 years.
Yeah, I don't think they see Deal as competition yet. I see them as they see them as a very small fish. 500 million ARRs, nothing to ADP. They drop that in their couch cushions. Although Deal is awesome. And I really believe, what they are doing could transform not just the EOR side of the house, but also staffing, as we talked to Atlas about that too, Jim over at Atlas. I do think that one of the superpowers that ADP has is they have so many fucking solutions that they go in, they get somebody to use one or two, and then they land those solutions, and then they expand with all these other things. So the sales process starts when you become a customer. Because then it starts to explode. And an acquisition like this, get ready, kids, because every ADP customer who's not already using Workforce Solutions, they will automatically start getting sold on this. And this is nothing but, again, being able to retain and expand that wallet share. So, yeah, I don't think they're worried about Deal, which is good for Deal. But they definitely should know about Deal just from an acquisition standpoint. Because, again, if anybody has the cash to do it, ADP has the cash to do it.
True enough. Interestingly, ADP is a public company. The market more or less yawned about this deal. So take that for what it's worth. The price. I mean, it's just like maybe it's just a fly on the ass of an elephant. Also, unlike StockTwits, which is really normally a cornucopia of bullshit and crazy stuff, like nothing on this deal. So take that for what it's worth. But on that note, let's take this thing down under, shall we? Take it down under. Seek has entered an exclusivity agreement to potentially acquire XREF for about $28 million US, aiming to broaden its service in HR tech, specifically employment verification. The deal's progression depends on due diligence and negotiation, with XREF's board open to recommending the acquisition to shareholders if conditions are met. However, completion isn't guaranteed as discussions continue. Chad, your thoughts on this impending deal?
So Remember when I was a fan of Seek pulling out of Latin America, which would give them more of a chance to focus on markets they actually know? Now, Seek's integration with XREF, implemented earlier this year in June, allows employers using Seek to request reference checks provided by XREF. So going down funnel, integrating reference checks is smart. Going down funnel is smart. This move is smart. If you offer an easy way to post jobs, acquire talent, then reference check that talent all in one platform, ta-da, that's a winner. There are 2.5 million SMEs in Australia and around 500,000 in New Zealand. That's your prime target because most of the bigger companies already have reference check, background companies, those relationships in play. So Australia and New Zealand they're not large markets. And even though we've got plenty of people that tell us, well, Seek is big in APAC too, it's all well and good, but those markets are all incredibly fragmented. APAC speaks a ton of different languages. They have a ton of different cultures. And yes, there's money to be had there, but Seek needs to keep it simple. I like the idea of Seek not just owning the land down under candidate acquisition side, but also driving down funnel with the prospect of reference checks, background checks, and just, again, there's more money down funnel. And I think Seek, this is a smart Seek move. And you don't hear that often from me.
Down funnel at the down under.
What are you doing, step bro?
So you mentioned earlier the buy, build, or partner question. And I think that it's sort of fascinating on this week's show, and a theme that we've had is that companies are sort of struggling with, do we buy, build, or partner on some of this stuff? And we talked about Zip Intro a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago. And Zip seems to be married to, we're going to build it. Like, damn the torpedoes, we're going to build it. We're not going to partner, no marketplace, no acquisitions. Like, that's their strategy. And more and more job boards, I think, are struggling with, okay, what are we going to be when we grow up? We're getting pushed from the commoditization, the programmatic side, merger. Let's just merge. Let's just get two dinosaurs together and hope that we can wait it out. Zip or Seek, in this case, interestingly, is saying we're going to buy stuff, which we used to see all the time in the job board space, where there's a career builder buying everybody, or Monster. Seek is on the same path. And I think that, to your point, you can't just be post jobs, look at resumes, here's some review stuff. And you have to be more than that to your customers. And if your customers love you, you should be able to get them on these other products and services because they love, like you ADP and the does. Sales rep. And it's like, so if you get them in, if you get them in deep, just the tip, then it should be something you can do. I do think, interestingly, and I think you mentioned this, XRF's clients extend beyond, Australia and sort of their sphere of influence. So is this a Trojan horse to kind of get Seek in other markets and work with other companies? Because it's real easy to just put jobs up on Google for Jobs and start showing traffic from this service and getting money from that. So I think this is smart. It's not done yet. Usually when deals aren't done yet, there's somebody leaks
Nobody
something.
Says anything.
Somebody said, hey, we're kind of looking. Will this new buyer might come in, someone else get a better price? That's kind of it. We rarely hear about leaks in our industry. But Australia is Australia. Somebody got stung by a spider and lost their shit and told a reporter somewhere. Who knows? But I like this deal. I like that Seek is focusing on more important things than Latin America, which they know nothing about. And this is a good step forward. It's a lesson that maybe ZipRecruiter could learn something in their strategery, because they've done some crazy shit lately.
Ridiculous.
All right, quick break, and we'll talk minimum wage.
Are you looking to boost your job ads performance? And are you looking to empower your recruiters to connect with your candidates at a much deeper level? Well, video is the best way. Collecting authentic video content from your employees, talking about why they love working for your company and why they've been there for X amount of years, absolutely skyrocket your metrics, such as your application rates, improving your SEO, driving more traffic to your career site, and even attracting better candidates that are sick and tired of the good old job ad jargon that they see out there in the world. JobPixel is trusted by some of the top companies in the world, such as Cognizant, US Cellular, Boston Medical Center, Arkansas Children's Hospital, and many more. Reach out to our team today to get a custom business case showing you how to improve your metrics at a level you've never seen before. We can't wait to show you what video can do. Thanks.
Chad, when was the last time you were in New Jersey? I've been in New Jersey in a long time. I guess the iSIMS meeting
the
was
last
the last
iSIMS. Yeah, the last iSIMS meeting. I mean, I don't go there often, but if I am, it's generally a good iSIMS meeting.
I haven't been in New York in like 5 years. That's awful. I love New York.
Wow.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get to the news. New Jersey's minimum wage will rise to $15.49 per hour. It's a very exact number. Starting on January 1st of 2025, thanks to a constitutional cost of living adjustment. Despite this, critics say the wage might still fall short of a living wage in some areas, prompting discussions about further increases. They may have a point. A new UC Berkeley study found that California's new $20 minimum wage for fast food workers resulted in an 18% wage increase without, and I underscore without, significant job losses or price hikes. The law led to a small one-time price increase, largely absorbed by customers like you and me, suggesting overall it was a positive economic impact. Chad, what are your thoughts on some of the highlights on minimum wage this week?
Now, we've talked about this before. You pay your people more, they can buy more shit. That's how capitalism works, kids. If we're not paying people enough, they can't go buy stuff, right? They can only put money into their rent, the things that, the things that they need, gas, water, those types of things, basic food essentials. The thing that bothers me about this is they say this is a cost of living adjustment. Well, their cost of living adjustment sucks. Because if you take a look at $15.49 an hour, working 40 hours a week is $32,200 a year. $32,000. The living wage for a single adult is $51,000. They're not even close. So how's that a cost of living adjustment? And if you're a single adult, so let's say you're a single mom with a kid, the living wage is $43.67 an hour in New Jersey. So this cost of living adjustment, to me, seems like more fluff. Yes, people are getting more money, but it's not enough to live on. And we need to do that. And if we give those people more to live on, again, we're going to juice the economy. We need to push, not trickle, push the money from the top to the middle to the bottom so that those people can have great lives instead of shitty lives, trying to scrap and work 3 or 4 jobs. Yeah. And eating meatloaf if they're lucky.
So a quick reminder, the federal minimum wage is still $7.25 an hour. It hasn't changed in 25 years. So that's multiple people, multiple parties in the White House, multiple parties in Congress. Nothing's been done. And sadly, we are days away from a presidential election, and this has hardly been an issue that we're talking about. We're talking about like not taxing tips. That's great, but how about a more homogenous solution? How about something more inclusive of everybody? Like, let's make sure the dishwasher in the back, of the kitchen gets paid, and not just the wait staff that's out serving the customers. Like, that seems like a better conversation to me. Call me crazy. Kamala's on record of $17 an hour. That's progress. Trump has had nothing in terms of rhetoric or policy of doing anything. Trump's been in the White House. Kamala is in the White House. Nothing has been done in that 7.5 years that those two have. Something needs to give. 25 years is ridiculous for the largest economy in the world not to increase the minimum wage. All right, that's my stump speech. It's been way too long. It's stupid. On to the California law.
Yeah.
You and I nailed this one. We nailed it. We said, look, companies are going to cry, squeal, like lobby, pay off whoever they had to get this done. And
they did.
This would not be nearly as bad as this would not be dogs and cats, cows falling from the sky. Everything would be okay. All right. People have more money. When the lower end of the poverty, when the lower end of the spectrum gets money, they spend it. When the higher end gets it, they put it in a 5% savings account, T-bills and whatever. Okay. So if you put more money in the hands of the workers, more money goes into the system. That's what's happening in California in this case. I hope it starts happening in New Jersey and other places that hopefully the states can adopt this stuff, because the federal government clearly isn't going to get on board with this stuff. In-N-Out was the story, or one of the companies that they highlighted. Burgers went up very little bit. Now, In-N-Out is an exception. They are a remarkable business, but they were really hard-lined on, we're not going to increase that much. We pay our workers a lot already, and it's not a big deal. But not everyone went out of business. This was not a disaster. This was fine. And we need to eventually, in my opinion, get to a $25 minimum wage per hour, federal law. End of story. Hard stop. California is really close. The world has not ended. They'll get to 25 at some point, and we'll find that the world does not end. If you're a shitty business, you're a shitty business. And if you're a good business, you can pay people a good wage. It's okay to pay a little bit more for that barbacoa bowl or that nacho supreme. Trust me, I have not suffered at all when I visited these states.
Here's the thing. I mean, 11% of the U.S. is in poverty. We are the strongest nation in the world. 33 million people. And these are people who are working in many cases. We call them the working poor. They're working their asses off, right? I do believe the federal stance, just to be able to force the states' hands to be able to make them pay more, we definitely need to raise the federal. But we should actually pass laws that focus on what a living wage is, and being able to parallel against living wages. And the whole no tax on tips thing, that's total fucking bullshit, man. Because most of those people don't pay taxes on those tips. They don't qualify to pay taxes on those in the first place. So, I mean, it's literally, it's a mirage, right? It's something, it's a great stump for stump speeches. Yay. That's great. It's for
it's jazz hands.
It's bullshit. Yep. Do the big stuff. And you're 100% right. We've had Republicans and we've had Democrats in office ever since Ron Reagan's dumbass did this fucking trickle down economics shit, and nobody's fixed it yet. He's rolling over in his grave. I don't care.
Yeah. And, so you mentioned the number of poor people below the poverty line. Mark Cuban has a great point in that, look, you're either going to pay in taxes when entitlements or you're going to pay them a higher wage. Frankly, I'd rather them work for a living, get a higher wage and make a living wage. Both sides should be able to come together on this. It's unfortunate that it's become so polarized. Well, speaking of cities I haven't been to in a while, let's talk about Tulsa, Oklahoma. They've successfully countered a brain drain with what they're calling Tulsa Remote. They're offering $10K for remote workers to relocate for a year. They've attracted over 3,300 participants. This initiative has not only saved participants significant housing costs, but also brought substantial tax revenue to the city and state, showcasing a model for urban revitalization through remote work incentives. Chad, your thoughts on Tulsa Remote?
Yeah, I love this. And this is from the New York Post last year. Quote, most of the remoters are staying put. According to Tulsa Remote, 90% of the participants have remained past the required year, and nearly 500 have bought homes, end quote. So yes, they're taking the brain drain. And what that means, kids, brain drain is when all of your knowledge is leaving the state, right? And they're having a brain gain. So they're bringing them back. As of December 2022, Tulsa Remote participants generated $563.6 million in direct employment income for the city of Tulsa, according to their economic impact report. Also, there were at the point of this report, there were 2,819 participants. They paid $10,000 each, totaling to a little over $28 million. And again, the result is $563.6 million in direct employment income. Where does that money go? In 2023, it was estimated that Tulsa Remote was responsible for a presence of an estimated 3,554 full-time equivalent jobs in Tulsa County. 2,253 were program members, and the additional ones were actually local jobs created by the need for household spending, right? Significant gains in healthcare, restaurants, retail, real estate, et cetera, et cetera. Here's the fun part. Tulsa Remote, the new remoters in 2023 came from 45 different states, 8 different countries, and overall have grown more diverse. That population, more diverse, 53% have identified as a part of an underrepresented racial and ethnic group in 2023. What's happening here, kids, is there's a little stipend, $10,000. Seems like a lot, $28 million, but it's bringing hundreds of millions into an economy. It's juicing the economy. So when we were talking about juicing the economy with minimum wage and actually boosting that so that they spend it, Tulsa's saying it. They're just going above and beyond, not just for the people that live there now, but they're drawing people into Tulsa. And I mean, when's the last time you actually said, not that I don't love me some Tulsa, but when's the last time you actually said, I think I'm going to relocate to Tulsa? Not many people say that. You get a program like this and they're like, hey, this sounds like a good idea. 500 homes bought. It's amazing. Amazing.
No, I have never said I'm going to pack up and move to Tulsa. However, the Joel of the mid '90s may have thought like, hey, why not? Fuck it, I'll go to Tulsa. Work. So if I'm a young person, this is very interesting, and we've heard other states do this. I think Burlington. I mean, there's been other cities that you can Google it, I'm sure, but
Muncie, Indiana has like a small program.
Does Muncie, Indiana?
Yeah.
It better be more than 10K to get me to move to Muncie. I say that and my wife will get a job at Ball State and I'll live in Muncie for my silver year. Anyway, forms of this have been going for a long time. Colleges and state schools have said, hey, if you stay in the state for a certain period of time, we'll forgive your loan or part of your loan. Or you go to school for free in some states, I think like West Virginia, if you have a certain GPA and you stay in the state, you can go to school for free. So we in America have a really interesting dynamic in that we have little competitive corporations known as states that compete with each other for talent and resources and everything else. And most countries don't have that privilege or that luxury. And whether it's minimum wage where, okay, California does it, everything's okay. Denver, Colorado is weed, like everything's okay. And so these things get worked out and then competition comes into play and states and places are better for it. So I salute Tulsa. I think more states more cities should do things like this, more states. Competition is good for business. That's what my econ teacher told me. What's interesting, and you've pointed out, is the international flavor of this. Like to appeal to, I don't know, someone in Germany to go to Tulsa and like work remotely from there. That's really interesting that they can do that. And I think as more countries, Germany's in a 2-year recession, for example. We've talked about the UK having issues with, demographics. Like there's opportunity for the world to come into America via Tulsa and grow that economy and make it great. So the only downsides are like, hey, if I live in Tulsa and this schmo next to me like moved into town last month and he's getting 10K and I've been here my whole life, like what's up with that? Like give me some money. So I could see some local rivalries or some trash talking about like, oh, nice. If you get the 10K, you better go buy that guy a nice bottle of bourbon to make him feel better.
Well, I think you're spending money in his community in the first place, making it a thriving community instead of making it a shitty community. So at the end of the day, they're actually doing them a service. But here's the big thing. Usually what the government does is they give money in forms of tax breaks to companies, right? And that's literally corporate welfare. They're giving them corporate welfare. Instead of that, what I love about this is they're giving the people the money.
Yeah.
The people should have the power to be able to do all of these things and, again, juice the economy. So to me, this is an entirely different setup. It's been running for years, and we're starting to see other cities, not really states, but cities start to try to emulate this. It's really cool.
Yeah, it is cool. You're giving my neighbor way too much credit for understanding the big picture on this stuff. He wants his bottle of bourbon.
Fucking stupid humans.
We'll be right back.
Hospitality is the heart of our society. It brings people together to share great food, drinks, and experiences. But successfully managing a restaurant or hotel is no easy feat. That's where Harri comes in. Harri is the frontline employee experience platform that helps you build, manage, and engage great teams. With Harri, managers can easily find and hire top talent, manage timekeeping, and communicate with employees at any time from any place. Candidates and team members can quickly and efficiently apply for jobs, swap shifts, and access important information entirely from their mobile devices. And Harri's robust employee engagement tools make team members feel more connected than ever. With Harri, as an owner or operator, you get a bird's eye view of your business, from turnover cost, labor cost, employee sentiment, compliance risk, and team performance. Run your business better by understanding the power of your people. Because when your team is the heart of your business, Harri is the heartbeat. See how it transforms your business.
All right. Speaking of stupid humans.
You are really dumb. For real.
All right. Tennessee factory worker Johnny Peterson's family has sued Impact Plastics and its CEO after he died in flooding from Hurricane Helene, alleging the company forced workers to stay despite severe weather warnings while managers left early, highlighting inadequate safety measures during the disaster. Specifically, founder and CEO Gerald O'Connor had, quote, stealthily exited the building, end quote, according to court papers. Peterson was 55 years old. He is survived by a wife and 2 kids. Chad, your thoughts?
It's really simple. We need to break out the orange jumpsuits. I mean, owners and all leaders are responsible for their workers' safety. Again, owners and all leadership are responsible for their workers' safety. Gerald O'Connor and all Impact Plastic leaderships should be sitting in the Johnson County Jail right now. We have to put a priority on our people, which we have not been doing for many, many years. We put it on the top and those motherfuckers get away with shit. We can't do that anymore. We've got to throw them in jail. Maybe, you know, a very high bail, maybe no bail, but at the end of the day, people died. This isn't they had a bad day. This is they died.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. Until someone's in an orange jumpsuit, this issue is not going to go away. And I fear that as climate change makes these incidents more prevalent in our lives, that we're going to hear more about workers getting hurt, killed in this case, because of bad management, not taking into account the workers that they take, that they hold in their hands. The suit is heartbreaking. The account of Peterson's final moments, including text messages with his family. He revealed that he would not escape the floodwaters. He had stepped back in the building to help other employees who were trapped inside, but he eventually became trapped himself. After the water made it impossible to leave the car, he texted his daughter, quote, "I love you all." That was it. That was all he managed to type out before the water, I guess, took his life. So just a horrible story. These are real lives. Jobs are jobs. They come and go. Lives, you only get one. And my heart, I know yours as well, Chad, goes out to his family, that they survive this and hopefully get some justice in court. But yeah, let's see some orange jumpsuits if this happens again. If not, in this case, no dad jokes this week, Chad. Life is precious. Instead, go call a loved one. I'm calling my dad. Maybe he'll have a good joke for me in next week's show. We out.
We out.
Thank you for listening. to, what's it called? A podcast. The Chad, the Cheese. Brilliant. They talk about recruiting. They talk about technology. But most of all, they talk about nothing. Just a lot of shout-outs of people you don't even know. And yet you're listening. It's incredible. And not one word about cheese. Not one. Cheddar, blue, nacho, pepper jack, Swiss. So many cheeses and not one word. So weird. Anywho, be sure to subscribe today on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. That way you won't miss an episode. And while you're at it, visit www.chadcheese.com. Just don't expect to find any recipes for grilled cheese. It's so weird. We out!